When the law fails you, is it okay to take matters into your own hands? That's a question we'll be answering today on Extreme Vigilante Justice in History by Serious History. Let's go.
Today, we're going over more stories of extreme vigilante justice. Duckfoot Chico. It's
Duckfoot Chico.
1984 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Francisco Vital da Silva is giving a detailed description of the man who just stole from his bar to a police officer.
Okay.
Over the past few years, Francisco has reported dozens of crimes, but judging from this officer's face, it seems like this trip to the police station was going to be another complete waste of time.
So just have a shitty police station? That doesn't sound too crazy.
He wraps up his account, and the officer coldly stamps a form.
Alright, chill, because I'm today's man in my videos. Like, it's one of those videos I need to lie back with my mic in my hands. It's so hard. I just want to get comfortable for this one. I just ate as well. Well, this orange shirt does not look good on me, bro. But like, I just saw it and I was like, I need a shirt to wear, so I was like, fuck it. Get an orange shirt full metal today. I don't think it fits the vibe too well, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Type shit.
Then slides it across his desk and tells him to come back if he has any more information. Disappointed, Francisco quietly thanks the man and begins his walk home. Though his life was difficult, it was hard for him to really complain. In the 1970s, Sao Paulo entered a massive real estate boom, and many from the impoverished backcountry area of Bahia moved to the city for better opportunities.
Okay.
Francisco was one of these people, and though he'd arrived with nothing but empty pockets and dreams, he found work in construction and diligently saved his money.
That's good, W man.
After years of hard labor and an on-the-job injury,
Bro, it's like this. This isn't back to back, but like these rap videos, my feet always having issues. Like today, my right foot. Last time was my left foot, but today my right foot, like just underneath of my big toe, it's just so itchy. It's been itching for the last like 5 hours.
that left him with a funny walk, he had
So I fiddle with that. I'm fiddling with my feet, not my willy.
finally saved up enough money to chase his dream of owning his own business. With his savings, he takes a risk and opens a small bar.
Dream set us free, chat. What's my dream? I mean, I guess become a streamer, bro. But like, is that even my dream? I don't know. My dream might be more nuanced than that. Anyway, I digress.
On the east side of town. It wasn't much, but it was his. And as he looked around his establishment, he couldn't help but feel so proud of how far he'd come. A poor boy from Bahia, now a business owner in a big city. But this dream would soon become a nightmare. See, Francisco's bar was located in the worst part of the city. With the rapid population growth, crime quickly rose in the area, and calls for help overwhelmed the police. The authorities began writing off the east side of the city as a lost cause and even stopped patrolling the area. Francisco's customers are mostly criminals who rack up huge tabs and never pay them. They steal from him, and soon they begin conducting their illicit activities in his bar.
It's actually a test of character when you have to deal with bullshit like this. You have a business and then you have these types of customers. Like the fact you even let them in, I mean, if you try not letting them in, you're gonna have issues. But also, if you let them in and you let them do all this bullshit, you're gonna have issues, you know? So, real test of character.
He files countless police reports, but the cops do nothing. And so he began carrying a knife to work and throwing the troublemakers out himself. This didn't really help his reputation in the area, and soon these criminals began targeting his bar even more. Throughout it all, Francisco hoped that reporting these crimes to the police would eventually force them to do something. But as he arrives home and opens his front door, he sees something that changes his life forever. The house is a mess, and he finds his wife and his 16-year-old daughter holding each other, crying. Francisco stares and asks them what had happened, and as they speak, his heart is torn to pieces. While he was away, 5 men had broken into their home and...
Is that enough to make you guys crash out, chat? Because I think that's enough to make me crash out. Like, I deadass into my Frank Castle arc if that shit happens. Like, you want to keep shit, like, you know, messing my business, okay, you know, like, throw a little tantrum outside my business, okay, yeah, sure, try to beat me up, sure, whatever. But you go to my household, you don't just destroy the place, you also beat up my wife and kid. Then on my life, you're not safe. Like, I'm telling you, you're actually not safe. Like, watch out, bro. Watch out on the streets of, what's this, Brazil?
In addition to stealing everything of value, they'd also essayed his wife and child. Francisco...
Okay. I was expecting like the little beat up, you know, the little like punch thing. But essay as well. Alright. No. Whoo. Wow. I don't even know what to say now. I already said I was in the Frank Castle thing. Now it needs to be like, I don't even know what to say. I've already used the Frank Castle analogy now. Like, they're just dead, bro. They're not safe. They're getting tortured and then getting killed. It's that simple. In game, in GTA 6.
Francisco's world shatters. He had moved to Sao Paulo hoping to create a better life for his family, but instead, he had led them to hell. He brings his wife and daughter back to Bahia to live with his relatives, and he stays with them for a few months before returning to Sao Paulo with his son. When he gets back, he finds his bar had been destroyed while he was away. These criminals had taken everything from him, and again, the police did nothing. As he stares at the shattered remains of his dream, the man once known as Francisco Vital da Silva died, and an avenger called Duckfoot Chico was born. Francisco buys a white Chevrolet Opala and 2 guns, and he and his 19-year-old son Flavio set out to hunt down the men who assaulted his wife.
This is like dynamic duo shit. It's all Batman and Robin. Okay.
They find them, and they murder them in cold blood.
W.
With his revenge mission complete, Francisco sets out to take down every known
Bro's
criminal
walking down this alleyway looking like Frank Castle, bro.
on the east side of Sao Paulo. The cops had failed the city, and so now he would deliver justice with his own hands. It wasn't hard to find his new targets, as many of them were actually his customers. He tracks them down and kills them without mercy.
The whole idea of vigilantism is like a very philosophically complex one. Like obviously I'm kind of supporting what he's doing right now, but we can't have a bunch of guys like Frank Castle running out on the streets, you know what I'm saying? When we have like too many of these guys, it becomes an issue.
Soon, citizens of the east side begin hearing stories of a man called Duckfoot Chico, who's hunting down criminals in the area, and people start showing up at his bar to feed him information.
Why the name Duckfoot Chico? Like, guys, bro, he's coming after me, bro. Who's coming after you? Who's coming after you? Duckfoot Chico. Like, when you say, guys, bro, I think he's coming after me, bro. Who's coming after you? The Punisher. Then you're frozen. You're like, oh, might as well pray. Might as well pray so you can get to heaven at least, hopefully. Inshallah. Or, yeah, John Wick's coming after me. Might as well pray. Like, not Duckfoot Chico, bro. Like, well.
On the homes and hangouts of criminals.
At least call yourself like Lion's Mane Chico.
They know.
Why Chico, bro? Just like even Duckfoot though, that's bad. Lion's Mane could be tough though.
Chico would then drive out in his signature Opala and take them out one by one. Now, usually the police don't really like it when someone starts running around murdering people all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
But seeing how effective Francisco was, and the fact that he only seemed to be killing bad guys, they don't arrest him. And instead, they also begin feeding him information too.
Alright.
A local newspaper
Most
begins
corrupt
writing
police
stories
force I've ever
about
seen in my life.
Chico, and a local radio DJ allows him to call into his show and talk about the latest criminal he'd taken out. Week after week, Francisco calls in with tales of his latest hunt, and the vigilante.
Okay, this is not good though. Like, why are the police helping him out? Okay.
And the DJ grow to become friends. Listeners are captivated by his stories, and for the first time, they feel something they had not felt in ages.
Hope.
In less than a year, Duckfoot Chico had killed an estimated 50 criminals in East Sao Paulo. But as much as he seemed like a real-life superhero, Duckfoot Chico was not invincible, and he would soon make a mistake that would cost him everything. On August 23rd, 1985,
It's just like the Punisher.
Francisco pulls up to a bar on the hunt for his next target.
You're not a one-man army, Duckfoot Chico.
He draws his pistol and walks through the doors. A man sitting at the counter sees him and, thinking Francisco was attempting to rob the bar, draws his gun. Francisco assumes that this was the criminal he was looking for and opens fire. The man fires back, but Chico's shots find their mark, and the man at the bar is hit and falls to the ground dead. Francisco walks to the body, and upon a closer look at the man's face, he is horrified.
Damn, he broke his code.
This wasn't the criminal he...
This is why we don't fucking become vigilantes, because you're gonna kill the wrong person one day, and then you're gonna feel bad, and that kind of ruins the whole thing. Because he's supposed to kill only bad guys, and now he's killed an innocent man.
He was looking for, and it turns out the man he had just murdered was an undercover cop.
That's even worse. Now you don't got to. Now the police are gonna hate you. They were on your side before. Now they're gonna hate you.
Duckfoot Chico runs to his car and takes off into the streets of Sao Paulo. He knows that what he had just done was unforgivable, and he would now be hunted by the police as a criminal in the same way he had done to his many victims. All units are sent out to look for the man they once considered an ally, and realizing he'd made a huge mistake, Francisco calls his friend, the radio DJ, and asks him for help. The DJ contacts the police and coordinates a way for Francisco to safely turn himself in. Duckfoot Chico meets his friend at the radio station, and together with the DJ, heads to the police station to surrender. Word quickly spreads throughout the city that their hero was going to turn himself in. And when the two men arrive at the station, they're greeted by 500 fans who cheer as Francisco exits the car. Throughout his trial, thousands of fans rallied outside the courthouse to protest for his release. Though he had openly admitted to murdering 50
No, he deserves to rot in a cell. Like, I agree with like pretty much everything he's done, you know. But like, when you do that shit, like you need to have the mentality where you're like, okay, they've done something to me now where I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill all of them, but I'm willing to deal with the consequences. That's the mentality you need to have after that situation. After your wife and kid is essayed, your mentality should be, yeah, I'm gonna kill them, but I'll deal with the consequences. I'll go to prison, whatever, who cares? You know? It shouldn't be, I'm gonna kill them and I'm gonna try to escape prison. No, you're going to prison and you need to accept that. Because when you realize what in life will make you accept that, the fact you'll go to prison after doing your actions, that's when you become a true person, you know?
criminals, the only crime he's charged with is the killing of the police officer, and Francisco is sentenced to 6 years in prison.
Only 6 years for killing someone, alright.
Initially, the authorities tried to protect him, but Duckfoot Chico is eventually transferred to a facility that held Central America's most dangerous criminals. During a prison riot in 1987, he was stabbed 91 times and died from his wounds. Some say his killing was revenge for all the criminals he had killed during his time as a vigilante. Though he'd only been active for a year, the name Duckfoot was never forgotten by the citizens of Sao Paulo, and in the following decades, many hired gun vigilantes would be called Duckfeet by the locals. But in a seemingly cruel and ironic twist of fate, these hired guns eventually went on to extort the businesses that originally hired them for protection.
Again, it just creates this whole cycle. It's like what they explore in Daredevil, where it's not really, like, Frank wasn't really inspired by Daredevil, but like it's implied like a bunch of people were in a way, which they don't really show, which is interesting, but I guess it's sort of implied the Defenders are inspired by Daredevil. But anyway, the point is, like, after Daredevil became a thing, like it felt like everyone was like, oh yeah, I can be like Daredevil, I can be like Daredevil, but along with being like Daredevil comes people who are gonna be like him but then do his shit, the same shit he does for the wrong reasons, and then start extorting people.
And now the term pej de pato is more commonly used to refer to criminal militias, basically the kinds of people the original Duckfoot Chico would have gone out to kill. Go figure. The case of Ken Rex McElroy. It's the late 1970s, and in Skidmore, Missouri, a phone is ringing in a home on the edge of the small town. A woman picks it up, listens for half a second, then rushes to lock her front door. Her next-door neighbor receives a similar call and does the exact same thing. A few moments later, a pickup truck rolls past their homes and onto Main Street. The calls were a warning that Ken Rex McElroy was coming into town.
Oh, that's like your...
For 2 decades, McElroy had terrorized the citizens of Skidmore. He had racked up 21 felonies for pretty much anything you can imagine. Assault, child molestation.
Okay, I take back what I just said. I thought this guy was gonna be the vigilante, like he's doing good stuff, but he's apparently diddling kids, so you should serve to rot in hell. You know, get this gun back out, bang. Let me like load in everything. Wait, sure, let me like rest this on my body. Bang. Cool.
Statutory rape, arson, animal cruelty, hog and cattle wrestling, burglary.
Hogging, you know what?
The list goes on and on. And of the 21 times he was arrested, he walked free 20 times.
How's that even possible, by the way? Like, what?
See, in addition to having a great lawyer, McElroy had figured out a...
Okay, you can have a good lawyer, but like, there's levels to a good lawyer, you know what I'm saying? And not even J. Omer will be able to get this guy out of that shit. What good lawyer does he have? There's a shitty prosecutor. I mean, yeah, prosecuting bench probably as well. A shitty actual judge.
Reliable trick to have his cases dismissed. He'd find the witnesses of his crimes and park his truck
Oh my god.
outside of their homes for hours and stare at them. He'd remind them that he knew where their kids went to school, and by the time his trials made it to...
Okay, but this guy's not a good guy. I guess, I mean, vigilante doesn't necessarily mean be a good guy. Vigilante just means taking the law into your own hands. But like, I just feel like the vibe they'll go for his videos, they'll be like the Punisher. Like, he's a bad guy, but you root for him. Like, this guy you don't root for. Like...
court, the witnesses either didn't show up or couldn't really remember much of the details. He even burned down a barn owned by the local judge once, just to make sure that even he
Oh, okay, the judge is also on this thing. That makes sense. I'm saying it's a shitty judge.
knew his actions had consequences. If I haven't painted a clear enough picture of just what kind of guy Ken McElroy was, let me tell you about his 4th marriage to Trina McLeod. When they met, Ken
She's a young girl, isn't she?
was 35 years old, and
17.
Trina was 12.
Ah! Bro!
And whatever you're imagining now, I'm going to tell you, it was way worse.
So
So Ken, while still married to his third wife, quote-unquote hooks up with Trina, and when her parents
Yeah, hooks up, not just rapes her. Like, oh, fuck no.
object to their relationship, he burns down their home and shoots their family dog.
Bro, this guy is actually crazy. I was about to let an N-word on this YouTube video. This guy's actually crazy.
Trina gets pregnant and moves in with Ken and his third wife. Ken divorces his wife and marries
Okay,
Trina,
I'm gonna need to just hold this permanently for the rest of this, like, this little tale now. I'm not gonna lie.
who is again, let me remind you, still pretty much a kid. Trina gives birth when she's 14 and tries to run away from Ken and goes back to her parents' home with Ken's third wife, but Ken tracks them down, burns down Trina's parents' home again, and he shoots their new dog. After the incident, Trina and her baby were placed in foster care, but Ken threatened her foster parents and eventually they gave Trina back to him. So yeah, that's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. But in 1980, Ken McElroy picks a fight with the wrong man, and it all starts over a piece of candy. On a summer day in 1980, one of McElroy's kids is in a local grocery store owned by a 70-year-old man named Ernest Bo Bowenkamp and his wife. A clerk in the store sees McElroy's kid steal a piece of candy and scolds her. The kid reports back to her dad, and Ken begins stalking Bo Bowenkamp.
What a shitty
He follows
kid.
Bo to the back of his
What a shitty kid.
store one day with a shotgun, and an argument explodes. Bo had had enough of McElroy bullying the town, and while he was giving Ken a piece of his mind, Ken raises his gun and shoots the 70-year-old man in his neck. Bo Bowenkamp somehow survives the shooting, and Ken is arrested and charged with second-degree assault. In June of the following year, Ken was finally convicted.
Surely that counts as attempted murder, not fucking second-degree assault. That's attempted murder.
Sentenced to 2 years in prison, but he knew how to play the system. He immediately appeals and pays his bail so he can be released while waiting for the new trial. When the news spreads that Ken is walking free again, the town shudders in fear and wonders what will happen now. It doesn't take long for McElroy to start causing trouble again. Immediately after his post-trial hearing, Ken drives to the D&G Tavern with an M1 Garand and loudly begins going into graphic detail on what he plans to do to old Bo Bowenkamp. Some of the patrons in the bar grow worried for Bo's safety, and when Ken's trial is pushed back again, a group of concerned citizens warns the sheriff of what Ken had said and asks for help figuring out what they could do to keep everyone in the town safe. While the group pleads with the sheriff for help, word gets to them that Ken and Trina had returned to town and were again at the local tavern. The sheriff thinks for a moment and tells the men that maybe they could form a neighborhood watch or something.
How about you all just go out and jump him? You can't take all of you at once. Like, it's like the Punisher. Like, the Punisher, obviously, you can deal with like 10, 15 guys at once, depending on like what he's using and like if he's been jumped or not. But he's not like the Punisher. He can't deal with 2 people at once, probably. Especially if he's not using a gun, you know?
Townspeople are shocked.
So if 5 of you just jump him, he's not safe.
Their sheriff seems to care about them or doing his job. But at that moment, the sheriff picks up his hat and tells them he'll be going out of town for a few days. He casually walks out the door directly into his cruiser and drives off.
Juicy stuff.
The townspeople watch their sheriff's patrol car vanish into the distance. And with the law in the town gone,
I thought that was like code words for, oh yeah, I'm gonna be awful and I'm gonna go deal with it myself.
They look at each other and nod. Together, they walk to the tavern, and soon, nearly every man in Skidmore is surrounding Ken McElroy. The air is thick with tension, and they not so politely tell him that he should leave. Ken gets the hint and buys a 6-pack and heads for the door. He and Trina are followed by the seething mob, who surround the vehicle. Ken starts the engine and lights a cigarette when suddenly his window shatters and bullets begin flying into the cab. Trina screams as Ken jams his foot on the gas, but he's struck by 2 bullets and slumps in his seat. Frantic, Trina stumbles out of the truck and is grabbed by a man who rushes her away to safety. The gunfire stops as abruptly as it began.
At least they're decent enough to like get the girl out of there so they can deal with the man. Alright, that's fair.
In minutes, the streets are completely empty. Nobody calls for an ambulance, and Ken McElroy dies from his wounds with his foot still heavy on the gas pedal. When authorities come to investigate the scene, they find casings from 2 different guns showing that multiple people had fired at him. The police interviewed the 46 suspected witnesses to the crime, but every single one of them denies seeing anything. Trina accuses a local man, saying she saw him pointing his gun at them. But when the police question him, he denies being there, and his story is backed up by everyone in town. In the end, no one is arrested for the murder of Ken McElroy, and the case remains unsolved to this day. Earp Vendetta Ride.
Yeah, they just don't care to solve it because this guy is a freak. He's a loser. He's a criminal. He's awful. Yeah. And I guess the whole story wasn't really him being a vigilante, it was more like the people being the vigilantes, and that's good. Because no matter what that guy did, like, even if he went out and killed, like, I don't know, the fucking mob or something, after all the stuff they started with, like, I couldn't root for him. It's like, he's evil. He's not a good guy.
It's October 26, 1881, and the town marshal of Tombstone, Arizona, Virgil Earp, along with his brothers Wyatt and Morgan, and their good friend Doc Holliday, are unknowingly walking into the most famous gunfight in American history.
Oh.
Tombstone was a booming silver town, and many fortune seekers from around the country were moving there in droves to try to strike it rich. But the rapid population growth also attracted some not-so-savory characters, and a group of outlaws who called themselves the Cowboys began to frequent the town and often found themselves involved in most of the major crimes in the area. They rustle cattle, hold up stagecoaches, and operate as if they're above the law. Virgil Earp had been installed as the town's marshal that year, and he and his brothers had many run-ins with the Cowboys as they tried to maintain the law and order in the area. The Cowboys don't like the Earps, and the feelings were mutual, and neither side was
Some
very shy
Western
when it came to
Showdown
saying
type
what
shit.
they thought of the other group. In an effort to tone down the rampant gun violence in the streets of Tombstone, the town council passed Ordinance 9, which required everyone to turn in their weapons as they enter town. And this
This
ordinance...
is just like a microcosm of what America is. You're allowed guns in it, like, bruh. Guys, why have we not just removed guns in America? Remove guns in America, add a universal healthcare system, it's a top one country.
was the reason the Earps were making their way down Fremont Street towards the OK Corral. The previous night, a cowboy named Ike Clanton had spent the night in town getting hammered and loudly threatening to kill the Earps. And I'm gonna cut in here because, to be fair to Ike, it's kind of important to know why he was threatening to kill the Earps. See, he had secretly
Why?
made a deal with Wyatt Earp to help him get some of his fellow cowboys arrested for an attempted stagecoach robbery in exchange for money.
Okay.
But this deal had fallen apart when these cowboys got themselves killed before they could be arrested. No money exchanged hands, and now he was terrified that the Earps would tell the cowboys that he had betrayed them. This constant paranoia is probably what caused him to go on that all-night bender.
Okay.
Anyways, Virgil had found Ike, pistol-whipped him, and confiscated his guns. Ike's younger brother, Billy Clanton, and two other cowboys had
Where's
come
this
into
going?
town to get him, but when they arrived, they found out that the Earps had pistol-whipped Ike, and that pissed them off. They refused to turn in their guns, and were eventually joined by the still-dazed Ike Clanton and their friend Tom McClory, who was also in town overnight. Townspeople told Virgil that the cowboys were armed and up to no good in a vacant lot near the OK Corral, and this is why he and his brothers were headed that way to enforce Ordinance 9 and confiscate their guns. As the Earps walk down the street, everyone in town can sense what's about to happen. A man shouts out to
crap.
Doc Holliday, "Let him have it!" And Holliday tips his hat and replies, "All right." Virgil sees the cowboys around in the vacant lot, and as he gets near, he shouts, "Throw your hands up, I want your guns!" Immediately, two of the cowboys draw their pistols, and Virgil holds out his hand and shouts, "Hold on, I don't want that!" His brothers quickly reach for their weapons, and all hell breaks loose. Ha! I don't got no gun! Get to fighting or get away! Got you, Holiday. Blaze away. You're a daisy if you do.
Oh, don't stop.
The entire gunfight at the OK Corral was less than 30 seconds. Virgil and Morgan Earp were wounded, and 3 cowboys, including Ike Clanton's brother Billy, are dead. The Earps and Doc Holliday are all charged with murder, but because Wyatt Earp had pushed Ike Clanton out of the fight and did not shoot him, the charges are dismissed as lawmen doing their job. Ike is devastated. The Earps not only have dirt on him that could get him killed, but now they also murdered his baby brother. He cannot allow them to get away with this, and he soon begins his quest for revenge. On the night of December 28, 1881, Virgil is crossing Allen Street when shotgun fire erupts from the shadows. The buckshot tears through his back and his left arm, and he barely makes it to safety. He somehow survives the attack, but his arm is damaged beyond repair, and he will never use it again. The next day, Ike Clanton's hat is found near the scene of the crime, but other cowboys provided alibis that gets him off the hook. He's set free, and it doesn't take long for his second attempt at revenge against the Earps. In March of 1882, Morgan and Wyatt are shooting billiards at the local pool hall.
Okay.
Morgan is lining up his shot when 2 bullets shatter the window behind him. Morgan is hit in his spine and falls to the ground.
Some low-key one-man
Wyatt
army
and 2
shit.
other
Punish
men
a
carry
Frank
him to a
Castle or
nearby
something.
room as he continues to bleed from his wound. Wyatt holds his brother closely and desperately stares at his face, praying for a miracle before hearing his brother's final words. "Wyatt, I can't see a damn thing.
I can't see a damn
5
thing.
cowboys are identified as the primary suspects of the murder of Morgan Earp. But again, the courts failed to bring any of them to justice, and they are all released.
What great courts. What great
Wyatt
legal
Earp
system.
cannot believe it. He was now a U.S. Marshal, and even with his position and the overwhelming evidence against the Cowboys, they were walking free again. The attack on Virgil and the death of Morgan going unpunished snaps something inside of Wyatt, and he decides if the courts won't provide the justice he's looking for, then he'll do it himself.
To the daredevil
Wyatt
methods.
assembles a posse of 6 men, which included his youngest brother Warren and his good friend Doc Holliday, and they begin to hunt the Cowboys responsible for Morgan's death.
Oh, this is tough.
Their first target was a man named Frank Stillwell, who they find at
Frank.
a train depot in Tucson, Arizona. He tries to run from Earp's posse, but Wyatt catches up with him and he presses his shotgun directly into Stillwell's chest and fires.
Bang.
His ravaged body is found the next day. A cowboy who was a suspect in Morgan's murder hears of Frank's fate and turns himself into the Tombstone sheriff, thinking he would be safer in jail than out there with Wyatt Earp.
Oh.
Next, the posse tracks down a man named Florentino Cruz, who gives up the names of an additional
I like that
accomplice
little
to the
animation
murder.
there.
But even after ratting
The
out
art's
his
style
friends,
changed.
Cruz's body is found the following day, riddled with bullet holes. The Cowboys get word that Wyatt Earp is hunting them down and set an ambush for him. Led by their best gunfighter, Curly Bill Brocious, 9 cowboys launch an attack at Earp's unsuspecting posse. Instead of running, Earp returns fire with his own shotgun, and Curly Bill is nearly sawed in half. He was dead before his body hit the
Get him!
ground. Soon,
Get him!
the Tombstone Sheriff, who had been friendly to the Cowboys, assembles his own 21-man posse to go after Wyatt Earp for murder. This posse was actually made up of cowboys who now all really wanted Earp dead. Sensing that he wouldn't be able to take on the sheriff's crew, Wyatt Earp is forced to be satisfied with the men he had taken out, though he never catches Ike Clanton. Earp and his friends leave the territory as wanted men. Eventually, they part ways in New Mexico, and Wyatt ends up in Colorado. The governor of Arizona tries to have him extradited, but the governor of Colorado refused the request. Wyatt wanders for a bit, makes a fortune in Alaska before
Sorry,
ending up
Charles.
in
Trying to be
California
like, you know, and those baddie pics where it's like they bite like their finger and shit, you know, like. I just look like a fucking idiot. What am I doing? Anyway, we'll call it there. Great video. I love these revenge stories from serious history. Just can get a little like. You know what I'm saying? Alright, that's it. Oh yeah, how am I supposed to end these videos? I don't know. Just like, bye guys. Bye. 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 Bye.